Meeting to order. This is a public hearing. Final 25 budget, September 23rd, 2024, 5:40 p.m. I need to do a roll call.
So you need to say it first?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start with it.
Okay. Mr. Sterling?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. McKnight?
Present.
Ms. Carlson? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Hastings here.
Absent Elvin Meeks. Chris Arduino, recording secretary.
Roy Yarbrough, superintendent.
Shelley Wagner. Instruction.
Carlson, would you like to lead us off?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to have nominations for appointing a secretary pro tem. Does anybody have any nominations for secretary?
Megan.
Those in favor? Any comments for the community on this?
No.
Turn it over to Josh Ryan for the budget.
All right, thank you very much. So this is the public hearing to review the proposed changes from the tentative budget to the final budget. That changes document is attached. I've also handed out the projects just as a reminder of what we discussed at the tentative budget presentation. So I'll run through these changes. If there's questions, just please let me know. So in the ed fund revenue adjustment, as I discussed or emailed you guys, the CPPRT tax revenue projection was updated, so that's a $1,048,000 reduction to revenue. We did get some Title IV Stronger Connections grant, and you'll see some of that money come throughout these changes. So that is an increase of $141,492 in revenue. For the expenses, that first number is an increase of $12,655, and that's additional TRS and IRF payments that come in when someone retires. The second one is tuition reimbursement, which is the teacher vacancy grant for $59,000, so that's part of the grant funding. For professional services, 310, we're reducing the truancy cost by $48,000, some timing of some invoices, so that will reduce our cost for this year. For purchase services, the $12,000 there was double entered in two different locations, we removed that. For supplies, this is additional welding gas costs as we work on TIG welding, so we got to buy more expensive gas. That lines up with the RVC kind of progression from Jake. And then under capital outlays, we talked about copiers. When we started to code that, one of those copiers is transportation, so it's getting moved to an expense there. So it's a deduction in the ed fund for that. For tort expenditures, I didn't have the treasurer's bond in there, so we added that in. Operations and maintenance, so now that we've closed the solar, they should pay us the $50,000 up front, and I estimated $15,000 for the lease payment. I don't know the exact amount, but I wanted to get that revenue in there. There's also some Stronger Connections items in here for $113,786 in the operations and maintenance fund. For the expenses, I didn't have the mileage and cell phone stipend in there. Also on the project list was the desk and chairs at the high school. That needed to be added to the O&M fund. The equipment, line 540 for $50,000, we talked about with that $50,000 up front for solar, there would be some project, and I don't have a project for that yet, but I put that expense in there so maybe we can narrow down a few things and bring it, and we can discuss and approve it as a group once that payment's like on its way. The non-cap equipment for $113 is the Stronger Connections grant expenditure, so that offsets the revenue up there. And then another $72,500 when I look at all the projects. That is what I believe the final addition to the transfer needs to be to the capital projects fund. For transportation, that's the $8,000 copier that we moved. For IMRF, that is the benefits portion of the Stronger Connections grant. So for capital projects, I increased the interest revenue there by $52,500 on the projection. This ESSER 3 amount is the final ESSER 3 amount is the year's switch over, and that should be the final payment there. And then the 72.5 coming from O&M. So the reason that expense is going up is because when this year is over, the bottom line should be zero there, so that takes into account the rest of the CTE and the projects that we have listed there should bring that balance to zero. And then the last item is the fire life safety. I increased that by 500,000. That's something we're talking about tonight with the roofs. So those are the changes, or proposed changes from tentative to final budget. Also, for Illinois or ISB rules, we have to mention, and I've attached under the cash balances as of June 30th. I think I have to also mention it when I do the tax levy next month too. So I know Larry and I had talked about that last time, but that is part of the regulations also. So the cash balances are attached on there, so I just want to note that for the record for compliance purposes. So does anyone have any questions about the proposed changes from tentative to final?
I still have my previous questions, but we're still gonna be going over that if we talk about busing and any of those changes.
Sure.
So that's not, can't be in here until we know more.
Yeah, and I have those numbers. I was gonna email them, but or we can do it however we wanna do that, but I've run those for your busing question at the last meeting.
Okay, well, what,
We had started talking before the meeting. I was asking Josh about the age of the chillers. How many chillers are about that same age as the ones at Lowe's Park, Olson Park, Ralston? How many of those elementary schools are in that same neighborhood?
The Loves Park one was, I think, older. I don't have a date, but it was quite a bit older. The rest of them were kind of grouped together in that 25 to 30 year range. So we have two sets coming, and then we have the Ralston issue that we're working through too to see where that ends up.
And so you're saying there's 7 chillers that are kind of in that 25 to 30 range?
I mean, the middle school is gonna be a big one too, and the high school, so it's not just the elementary ones. But. So I think either it's gonna be October or November for that presentation on all the projects. We had a preliminary meeting on that, so the board will get a really in-depth view of where we're at for roofs, where we're at for boilers, chillers, fire alarms, windows, everything else. And so we can then kind of talk about like projects and funding and all of that.
What kind of a maintenance cycle is it on the chillers? I know the boilers, there's a routine annual maintenance kind of thing. Do the chillers have the same kind of a maintenance cycle?
So we shut them down and open them up, and I'd have to ask Chandler what else he does to them up there, because I don't know. Yeah.
So your answer is yes, there's a similar kind of maintenance cycle.
There should be, yeah.
Well, they've lasted 30 years. I mean,
Yeah. And this is the first one we've had mechanically. I mean, Olson Park went down, but that circuit, we lost a circuit on that one that we were able to fix.
Jump it.
So,
mhm.
bought a circuit from Germany on eBay, and that worked.
Yeah. Somebody just held it to their tongue and made sure the power went through.
Unfortunately, it wasn't one that was already on the way. That went out. We
So
weren't-
Randy to do a lot of digging to find out.
Yeah. But, you know, if we, it's a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole. We focus on chillers, you'll have a boiler problem, or the fire alarm will have an issue. So we just gotta keep plugging away at them.
But with that new information that we got with that other estimate, now we can look forward to, I really, I don't know if this is how to say it, but like, there's a substantial difference, like, in costs, and I almost feel like we should look into ways to see if we can move forward differently.
You mean going forward?
yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know if it's not getting out there. I don't know if it's more predominant enough with the bids, with looking for the bids, that kind of stuff. I don't know, but I mean, when I see a third of the cost
Sure.
for a similar thing, it's definitely something.
Well, we did have
can look at
Hackney
moving forward.
We did have Hackney look at it too, which is a different firm also, so you'd get a different viewpoint that way.
Right. Well, that's another question that I had. Is there a way that we could have, instead of going straight to an architect, can we have a mechanical engineer on file? Because all the architect does is they consult a mechanical engineer, mark up their services, and bring that information back to us.
Well, there's things that we.
I'm just asking.
I get it, and there's things that we have to do according to school code as well, so we have to make sure that
Right.
there's procedures that we have to take.
Yeah.
But if we can have, if they can do that stuff and work with the mechanical engineer that we have on file, now Hagney's not marking up their services 20%. We're working directly with the mechanical engineer is working with them, but they're both reporting to us.
Something we can look into. Sure.
Yeah, because
I've asked around, I've asked the
I
question.
still think with the mechanical engineers, it's gonna have to go out to a bid process.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless, just.
I agree,
set it
I agree,
right. I don't know.
100%. I'm just thinking about, hey, if there's ways that we can save costs, you know, by us having a mechanical engineer that we deal with that works with our architect instead of our architect marking up somebody else's services.
We'll explore it, yeah.
Maybe we can save some money somewhere.
Just trying to save money.
Yep, just trying to save money.
And then, how long we go for this?
We have 12.
I think we just,
We just can
I don't think
close
there's a
it.
set time.
You do have to ask if there are any questions or comments 3 times.
Yep. Are there any questions or comments from the community?
About what?
The budget.
We're here for the budget. sir.
Oh, all right, you're opening yourself up there, Mr. Sterling.
That's true.
Don't ask me if I have any questions.
About the public hearing for the budget.
Yes, thank you. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns from the community about the FY '25 budget?
3 times.
Is there any comments, questions, or concerns from the community about the FY '25 budget? Lastly, are there any comments, questions, or concerns from the community on the FY '25 budget? Hearing no comments, questions, or concerns, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This part is adjourned. call this meeting to order. Regular board meeting, Monday, September 23rd, 6 PM. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Mr. McKnight.
Present.
Ms. Carlson. Here. Mr. Smith. Here. Ms. Hastings here, Mr. Sterling.
Here.
Chris Arduino, recording secretary.
Troy Yarborough, Superintendent.
Shelley Wagner, Human Resources.
Michelle, our curriculum and instruction.
Jason Lewin, Communications and Community Relations. Josh Ram, Business and Operations.
For the record, Evelyn Meeks is absent.
It's my pleasure this evening to recognize a few of our students, the Students of the Month from Olson Park Elementary School. They're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
So we have Joel and Scarlett and Riley and Talia and Zia and Amelia. We're missing a few, but this is what we have for our Students of the Month here tonight, okay? Just ready?
Everybody stand.
Ready?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cheers now.
Riley? Over here, Jack. Right there.
Board members come around.
So what month were you student of the month for?
August and September.
All right, here we go. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice job. That was like the fastest you guys got. That was good. Ready?
All right, great job.
Thank you, families.
Oh, sorry.
Came with two of them.
We go in order, but we come back in
Yeah.
disorder.
Once again, I need a nomination to appoint Secretary Pro Tem.
I nominate Megan Hastings.
I think that's a terrific nomination. I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next time I'm nominating you, Kurt.
Write anything down.
There is no student travel, 11A1 and 12B.
Both you was the first one?
11A1.
11A1. Yes.
All right, and then motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
Motion.
Second. Mr. McKnight.
Aye.
Ms. Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Hastings, aye. Mr. Sterling.
All right,
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
back to your book.
All right, as we do at every meeting, the mission of the Harlem Consolidated School District as a vital part of the community is to help diverse learners realize their unlimited potential by providing an educational program dedicated to academic excellence and development of strong character in a safe and respectful learning environment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then for approval of board meeting minutes, September 9th, 2024, there are changes that need to be noted.
Yes. Want me to state them?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. Mr. McKnight was not present at the last meeting, and the minutes do have him listed as giving the report, which was given, I believe, by Mike Sterling on his behalf. As well as there was an error in the payables. It states 4 billion instead of 4 million. There was not a period in the right place. So that's been corrected.
Thank you. With those corrections, can I get approval of the board meeting minutes September 9th, 2024?
Motion.
Second. Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings, aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Hi.
Well, I apologize, I feel like this is 2 times in a row, but I've had to do a little bit of reshuffling as my artwork is still not ready yet, and a student that we were planning to have attend was unable to attend, but we've got some exciting news to share about that student in upcoming weeks. And so, but with that, I do want to point your attention to a couple of things. First and foremost, and they are not the same, but they're very similar. We have the tailgate party coming up this weekend. This is a great event and a great opportunity for our community to come together around homecoming. I know it's a lot of fun for kids at all ages to be a part of the festivities that are involved with homecoming. It's a little bit harder to see, but on the back side there, you have a few of the things that will be offered. One of the things that I think is a really cool way to kind of bring our student community together is demonstrations from clubs and organizations. This is an excellent opportunity for our students to get to be exposed to and witness some of the opportunities that are going to come, especially our kids that are in our elementary schools that are going to start to see, and really middle school, I suppose, too, just some of the things that are offered for our students at our schools. And so a lot of fun. I encourage people to attend, to invite the families and students of our district to attend that event on Sunday, September 29th. I also wanted to just bring attention to something else that's new that the high school is doing in spirit of, we had our Student of the Month. Students from Olson Park this evening doing our pledge. We have this Huskies of the Week. It's a new recognition thing that the administration of the high school has started, which is a really cool social media thing that we do, or that they do, excuse me, with nominations. So they nominate a student from each grade level and then a staff member. And so every once in a while we'll highlight these types of things in our Around 122 newsletter, but I wanted to share it with you in case you are not on Facebook. You get a chance to see the comments or why the kid was nominated and why the staff member was nominated. But we've had some awesome feedback from that and a lot of warm reception and congrats to the kids that have been nominated, because you'll see in there that they are, modeling what we hope our students to be. You hear a lot of the community piece of that, obviously being prepared to do things in class, the respectful learners, but really just kids that treat people kindly, which is really cool to see. And so just so you're aware as well, we have a lot of our schools, and these are just a few samples that you can see up behind you on the board, where we recognize Students of the Month, Students of the Week, in different formats. And so always fun to be able to see the faces of our students, but also to see those smiles when they're being recognized for the things that they're doing on a daily basis. We also have, again, on our social media channels, you'll see staff spotlights where buildings are recognizing either new staff or former staff, and just kind of fun to see that type of stuff. And so I wanted to really bring attention to the high school one because that's a new one. These other things have been going on for the past few years. So if you get a chance, check those out each week. It's a great way to celebrate some kids that are doing some awesome things, and maybe it's not something that they earn an accolade in an academic team or a sports team or something like that, but just their day-to-day of who they are is getting noticed, which is, I think, a pretty cool thing. So that is all I have for my report. I don't want to say I promise, but next meeting we will have some in-person people here.
Interesting people.
Well, and I just wanted to highlight to those who didn't make it out before for the CT building, that is part of the tour of the school, so that'll be available on that Sunday.
That's a good note. I need to make sure that we add that to the communication that is out there, so that's a good opportunity for people to see that facility.
Yeah, it's going to be part, when I talked to Dr. Boise, they're going to be talking about the different programs. It's going to be another thing they're going to be highlighting to the younger students to let them see and try to spark some creativity in them.
Is the kitchen going to be open as well?
I'm imagining, yes.
I mean, it is like a half a mile from one end to
Will
the
there
other.
be food?
Well, I don't expect food. We got to leave that to
Will there
the
be
trucks.
transportation services between the two?
Yes. But yes, it is a haul to there. But
Yeah, the whole school's going to be open, so.
okay, perfect.
Right.
All right. And with that, Jason, are you done?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. With that, we have one comment from the community. Actually, we have two, sorry. One was done via email, which we will make note. It was from Evans United Methodist Church. It was in support of our libraries, but with that, we will put it into record, so it'll be on the record and people can read it when it gets posted on our next meeting. And with that, we have one.
Yeah. I've been spam them too.
What's that?
I was just saying, it came to all of us.
Oh, okay. We have one that's in person, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Rebecca.
Thank you. Okay, this time I wrote stuff down. I wanted to start by saying how proud I am to be a part of the Harlem community. My family and I have really found a home within District 122. That being said, I wanted to state the reason I'm here. I'm sure at this point you all are aware that Harlem Middle School needs many upgrades and more space. As a parent and a community leader in different schools, I find myself daily being asked questions about the middle school and ongoing issues that I know only your board can answer and help solve. I do agree 6th grade should be with the 7th and 8th graders, but I do not believe the transition to get there was well planned. It was mentioned from the board last year that moving 6th grade to middle school would provide students with more opportunities. And thus far, I've had requests from staff and parents to make extra space, boarding issues, lunchroom issues, tardy issues, and witnessed firsthand complications for the around 1,500 students that are struggling. The congestion there is in the hallways, at lunch, in classrooms, the confusion with the extracurricular opportunities for 6th graders as well. While I appreciate all the improvements that have been done over summer, I know the middle school deserves so much more than that. I encourage every member of this board to shadow a staff member in the middle school for a day. In the past year, I've seen an extension of the high school, a new gym at Rock's Head Elementary, and a new softball field being installed. And wonder what are we doing for the middle school after adding around 600 extra students. This district means so much to me and I care very deeply about it. I come today to ask if there is a plan in place to increase the size of the middle school and how much funds are designated to improve the school overall. But mostly I come as a parent and an ally and a partner of the district to offer my time and resources to help. Middle school is arguably the key factor to success for high school, What are we doing to make our middle schoolers as successful as possible?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it? Oh, here it is, sorry. Moving on to the most exciting time, approval of the bills.
All right, Josh, thank you. Thank you for the build-up. The total payables this period were $2,407,849.93. There was one payroll this period in the amount of $3,548,955.82. For total expenditures of $5,956,805.75. Split out by fund, the education fund paid $3,708,238.83. The operations and maintenance fund paid $271,496.70. The transportation fund paid $207,752.82. The IMRF Social Security Fund paid $123,081.68. And the Capital Projects Fund paid $1,454,188.55. The Life Safety Fund paid $192,047.17. Again, for total expenditures of $5,956,805.75. Are there any unanswered questions? That's it for the bills.
Motion to approve the bills.
Motion.
Second.
All right. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
All right.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
With that, Ms. Rebecca Carlson.
Oh, I'm first, I'm sorry.
Boy, I don't have a whole lot this week. I wasn't here last week, so I don't know all the excitement that was going on. I heard crazy things about the football game, and I hope that we've got that kind of figured out and ironed out and taken care of. Thank you, Olson Park. I know most of them are gone, for coming in and one little young man who I actually talked to for a minute, and he was so excited to be here and was thrilled to be on time and early and all that good stuff. But there's not much. I know I talked to one of the community members about some of the food service, and she and I went back and forth, and it was very interesting, some of the things, and I'm looking forward to going around the school with her, whether she has young children or older children as well. But it'd be interesting just to see some of the things that are going on in food service. And other than that, I'm interested to get back on track. So that's it for me.
Mr. Larry Smith?
Yeah, thank you for our Olson Park friends coming in. I think they're all students of the month. I wish we had more months to recognize more students for the wonderful things that they do. And I just wanted to say, to give a shout out to the class of 1974, celebrating their 50th reunion from high school graduation. So to all those people from 1974, peace. Thank you to all the people within the Harlem School District for all the wonderful things that you do. And thank you for the parents that come and express their support for the Harlem School District, and the way that parents, of course, can support the Harlem School District the most and the most effectively is by having those conversations with their students early and often, and just please send that message that it's not okay, no matter how justified that they might feel. It is not okay to hurt others. There is no place for violence and disrespect and hurtful behavior at any grade level. I just ask all people within the community to do those things, to just make sure that the young people, we need to be the ones setting the example of what is civil, social behavior. And that's what makes a strong community and a strong country. So thank you, parents. Thank you for coming out and showing support to the schools, and please continue to do so. Mr. Sterling, I will yield the floor.
Thank you, sir. With that, Megan Hastings.
All right, Thursday are parent-teacher conferences, so I just want to remind everybody of that. I hope everybody made their appointments with their teachers. It's a fantastic time to kind of get on the same page. We're, if you're in middle school, halfway through well, for everybody, I guess, they go by trimesters, halfway through, so progress reports. Yeah, I've never had a negative experience when scheduling a parent-teacher conference, so take them up on it. Girls flag football. So specifically going to talk about their last home game on Wednesday, October 2nd. We want to go ahead and pack the stands, and I think we can do that for them. Please don't make a liar out of me, and let's show up. So let's show up, pack the stands for them for their last home game. They've really been killing it. It starts at 5, goes to 5:45. I'm sure you can spare 45 minutes for them. That being said, they have a killer matchup against Guilford on Wednesday, so send them some good vibes if you can't make it in person. Jason stole my thunder with the homecoming tailgate party. That's fine. No, it's at 4 p.m. I love when the littles get together with the bigs, and it was really cool to see last year. I'm expecting even greater things this year, especially to Mike's point with CTE being available and being able to tour those new spots. I did have one thing that I kind of wanted to ask, and I do appreciate parents coming in. I want to ask my fellow 122 parents, and it kind of actually goes with what Larry said. But I kind of wanted to ask you, a favor. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about drop-off, and all of these concerns have been given to the administrators. But most of our schools are neighborhood schools. They're within a community, and you know, there's stuff we can do, less stuff we can do in regards to just somebody passing by. But if you are a parent actively in a drop-off line, that is a perfect time to set an example. We shouldn't be honking at each other. We shouldn't be cutting each other off. We shouldn't be speeding. We shouldn't be doing any of those activities. I highly doubt your 30 seconds to a minute you're going to get to the stop sign before me is worth a kid or a staff member getting, hurt, or yourself getting into an accident. So to Larry's point, let's set an example. We've all been talking about safety. It's a little hypocritical to talk about safety and then not,
Be safe.
act or be safe. So when you're in drop-off, I know in the moment, getting to work or whatever your morning routine is seems to be the most important, but I highly doubt, God forbid, if anything were to happen to anybody, it would be that important in the grand scheme of things. So slow down, be kind to your fellow parents. They're trying to get where they're trying to get to. And if you can help in any way, just keep it rolling. Just keep it rolling. Give your kid a second to jump out of the car, put their shoe on or whatever they need to go, and just move on. We can all be like a lot kinder to one another. So please take that into consideration. And lastly, I hope everybody is reading their Battle of the books. I took a break for Banned Book Week. I hope that all students always retain the ability to read what they want to read. So I enjoyed some books off of the banned book list this week. But next week, back to Battle of the Books. So thanks. Education, this is the right date, right? October 9th. 4:30 p.m.
Last time it
Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
The next Equity and Social Justice meeting will be October 9th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. With that, I turn over to myself. Okay. I want to follow, obviously, all the comments that we follow down the line, saying thank you for our students coming in. I love to see the variety of different students from different schools, just out there, just not just focusing on one, but more schools, more kids, more students doing good things. That's always a blessing. I have another message to kind of add on to what Megan said. In the last 2 weeks, we've had so many emails and messages about students with social media posts and shootings, threats. A lot of them are not even in the state of Illinois, and we take everyone seriously. So I just want to know that. But when I've had to respond back to parents and say, we're taking this seriously, but when you read the message, I would like parents and family members and students to also think this. When you send something, let us know who, what, when, where, and why. Seeing a message that says that there is a writing in a bathroom of maybe a shooting, we're gonna take it serious, but what school? What group of kids heard what things? Anything that'll give more information, we're going to take it seriously, but arguably we had one at the middle school where it would literally, by the time you read it and send it out, it was all male students are now a suspect. We're back to 0 because it was a writing in the male bathroom, and it was not even credible. It was found shortly that it was it was a different school district. It just said HMS, and it was Huntley. I hope, thank God, nothing happened in Huntley, but
I didn't hear anything.
I just want them to know. So when we get these messages, we are going to take them seriously, but if you're getting it from a student, if you're getting it from somewhere else, ask those questions. who heard this? What group of kids that they walked by that said they heard something? Because hearing a group of kids, I mean, we're all worried about child safety, our student safety, our fellow employees' safety. Any more, I mean, one, we'll take it seriously, but I'm just asking for, if you're going to send it, please send it, but also ask those other questions for us so that we can try to get the right help to the right people.
Can I add on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Just piggybacking off of that, because Mr. Bloom sent something out recently in the newsletter about see something, say something. And so when you see something like that, and you maybe get something from your kid about the Snapchat, send it to administration so we can jump on it right away, because sometimes we'll get to something after it is circulated throughout social media without us having a chance to investigate it. So see something, say something, send it to administration, and we can jump on it right away.
I mean, the board gladly will take it, but send it to the administrators, because we're gonna get, all we can do is literally take it and send it and call ourselves. Because our job is to talk with you and have you direct the things, so. But if that's the channel you wanna take, we will gladly be
We'll get
the
it there.
recipient, yes. And you know, we take it serious. What else? I had a plethora of things. We were gonna talk about busing, so that'll go back to maybe a business services meeting, or you can, or,
Yeah,
sure,
businesses.
because that's
The next CRTW.
yeah, committee of the whole. We'll discuss that. I would also, while we're talking about this, discussing with all our apps and capabilities, Dr. Yarbrough feels confident that we could do it ourselves, the district, that is, not us, to look at where our students are to do redistricting if needed. We have the capability or whatnot to. Did you hear me
To
right?
balance
We don't want
it.
somebody to
I missed the
pass
first
one
part
to
of
the
what
other.
you were
So
saying.
before, we've had to like contact or contract with Wald or some of these other firms to come take our information and tell us where our students are and balance out the schools. But we can do that, and we can save the money that we did last time.
We've got very smart people
We
here.
do, and
We got very good software
We
too.
got very good
Yeah.
software,
Just
so that'll save us
programs
$10,000,
too.
we had to pay last time.
Absolutely, thank
So
you.
they're gonna be bringing forth, now that, what is it, enrollment is closed, that we know where all our students are coming from, that we can start running those numbers.
And I did send you all an update on enrollment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to touch base with you guys, so you guys would see that coming down the pipeline. I would also ask the board's consideration for bringing engineers or architects involved to discuss the middle school. Give us options that we can see going forward for the next couple of years, because it needs to be on the forefront. So that would be something that we send back to business services to have that discussion. But I want to see what you guys' appetite was for that, and you guys let the board know.
Mr. Rand, that's part of our life safety survey update too.
Yeah, maybe once we get that information, we can incorporate that in there and talk.
No, what you're talking about with the life safety, you're talking about,
They're gonna give us all the projects that are on the life safety survey for the 10-year survey coming up here in the next month or two.
but will that include expansion or all that?
Maybe we can take all that information, look at that together.
Okay. But that's,
We can do that.
because, I mean, we saw what the CTE building's gonna cost. We're not gonna build a new middle school anytime soon, so.
We saw what the roof of the middle school cost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the roof's gonna be a tip of the iceberg when we.
But isn't that gonna be part of the discussion too, right? If we're looking at the roof, if you go up, why would you put a new roof on if you're gonna go up?
But we
Is
had-
going up even an option?
Yeah,
When is the runway on?
We got courtyards.
We can talk about that in a moment.
We got courtyards for that building.
I'm not trying to stress you out, but trying to just get options, because we're not gonna be able to build a new one anytime soon, so.
It's been a good 3 weeks since you last had something.
Gotta take care of what we got. With that, our next regular board meeting is October 15th, 2024 at 6 PM. Our next policy committee meeting will be that same committee of the whole, October 9th, 2024 at 4:30 PM. And I will cede my time to Mr. Kurt Thompson.
Sure.
Well, thanks for everyone coming. Thanks for all the great feedback leading up to mine's. Aaron going after me, thankfully. Items that we didn't call it. The amount of feedback from parents in coming in here and giving your feedback in front of the meeting, that's not easy to do. All the feedback via email and the correspondence and the amount of digging and research that you guys are doing on your own just to make sure that not just your kids, but all of the kids are doing well is appreciated. And I'm making sure that, you know, I and everyone else on the board takes that very seriously. We'll get back any feedback that we really can, or we'll pass that to someone that's in the district that can make sure that they bring that to their attention. So again, it was a busier week for that, and I appreciate all the constructive criticism that we got on different areas. Additionally to that, and there's a lot of good feedback, one thing that was not mentioned, I was able to participate in the Give an Apple to a Teacher program last week. It's fantastic, delivering thousands of apples to schools and getting a chance to see some of the teachers at that, which is not for nothing. It's a great time now to nominate your teachers. So if your kids or you work with a great teacher, get those nominations out there. Harlem does quite well because we've got some amazing teachers, but we only know that if they get nominated. So I believe this year is pre-K through 6.
Yep.
So we're holding me to that. So get those nominations, even if they're not, nominate them. I mean, if they can't win, they still get that feedback. It really lights up their day to know the great job that they're doing. So, outside of that, I think that's everything I have for today. Besides business services is going to be October 9th as well, that committee of the whole, and that's going to start at 4:30 p.m. right back here.
Boom.
Thank you.
Mr. McKnight.
All right, going last, I'm gonna say ditto.
Yes.
You know, everybody, even Terrell stole some of my thunder with the see something, say something. I was definitely gonna bring that up. Tailgate party, I encourage the community and to come out and look at what we're doing. Like, I have been talking to parents that have children in other school districts, and some that we're very competitive in sports with. And I showed one of these parents the booklet that our high schoolers get with the Pathways programs. And she was floored with that. She's like, this other school district offers nothing close. Like, I am so proud of where we are going with the programs, and everything kind of leads up to obviously high school and graduation. I hope, that's what we're teaching kids young, obviously graduate. And like Harlem, obviously some things happened a couple weeks ago, and that wasn't us. That should not be like who we're known for. We need to talk about the positive things that we're going. And a lot of times, I get it. We're not perfect. We're nowhere near being perfect. But unfortunately, in communities, and it's not just here, it's everywhere, we only hear the negative of what's going on. Us as parents, community members, board members, we're choosing to live in this community. We're choosing, hopefully, to make it a better place. Like, let's talk about the positives more. And I was just at a charity softball tournament, and some lady was going around asking us, what's your affirmation today, and all this other stuff. And mine was to be you, but somebody said, be positive. Like 2 words, be positive. Like, a lot of the ugliness would go away if we're all just positive and like Larry says, nice. Other than that, like I said, we are doing good things. I appreciate parents coming out and letting us know some of those concerns I wasn't aware of. And that's accountability with you coming out and telling us for us to follow up on these things and see what we can do better in the long term and in the meantime. So thank you. Other than that, I'm going to get off my soapbox again, but just be nice, be positive, and just do better.
Happy.
Just do better. Thank you.
Michael, can I ask a question? I had forgotten to ask. Jason, I wanted to know, how are they choosing these students? Are they just putting a name in a hat, or a teacher picks them, or a lunch person picks them? So anybody can nominate a student?
Yes, but it needs staff nominating students.
Right, no, that's what I mean. It could be
Right,
any staff in the building can, okay.
You see somebody doing something awesome, nominate them.
Yeah. I just didn't know how they were setting it up, so thank
The
you.
middle school thing is students that nominate other students.
Right.
And then even if you don't win, the student gets to
I
get
like
that
that.
feedback back to see what they were doing.
I was interested in the high school because that's a new one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Dr. Michelle Herb?
I don't have anything this evening, thank you.
Okay. I don't know if you want to say hi. Josh Rand.
All right, thank you. My first item is a recommendation to approve resolution declaring surplus property at the Harlem Middle School, Parker Center, Maple, the high school, and here between Hack and Tech.
Nobody could use the stoves. I tried.
Oh, yeah. I'll check.
Simcoe will take it.
Yeah, they will.
Next, I have one facility request, that's for Husky Baseball Club for winter high school gym rentals. And then earlier this evening, we held a public hearing regarding the recommendation to adopt the FY25 tentative budget with changes to make it the final budget. You know, just one note too, with the CPPRT reduction and having slight deficit now, we'll have to just make sure that we're really looking at the operational expenses, you know, going forward and making sure we're as efficient as we can be on that. So, are there any other final questions on the budget? Okay. So my next two items and the last two items are kind of related, because obviously you know what this project is. I have a recommendation to approve a memo of understanding with Hagney Architects for the middle school and Hoffman campuses for a re-roofing project. So just a little bit of a background, we had both architects, DLA and Hagney, give us MOUs. Hagney was 1% cheaper on that, and DLA normally does like a full roof tear off. Hagney is recommending a re-roof, which is gonna save $500,000 to $700,000 from a full tear off. And so what that is, you know, over the last 25 years, lots of regulations have changed, so we need more insulation. So they would put the insulation on the current roof, re-roof it, get the same warranty, lift that equipment up. Because there's a lot of equipment on that, but they will get that underneath there.
So a new architect
Saved us $500,000.
saved us $500,000.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's fair.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So, and I did, because Hagney's doing Auburn right now, so I did talk with RPS, the CFO, too, about that process and just a little bit about how that's going, so. And then Hagney also talked with one of the roofers that we typically have work done here, too, and just kind of touch base with everyone, so.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
So, you know, there is a range with that, 'cause the next item is a recommendation with PMA to help with the bond issuance piece, and they look at the debt structure. They do a really good job of making sure that, there's two pieces, there'll be a chapter cover from the bond attorneys, because there's two things when you issue bonds. PMA, who helps lay all these things out, and they have a role, and then the attorneys have a different role in that to make sure that they get out to a competitive sale, that all the documents are legal, and it's a pretty intricate process. So I would have a Chapman agreement at the next one. And the amount of $5,750,000, I think that's gonna be just a hair higher than what the cost would, but until they get into the plans, we could either bring that down, we could talk about other life safety projects at that time. But I would like to try and get to where we know what the cost of this project is and make sure that we have enough to cover that project. This kind of goes along with a little bit of the life safety discussion that we have, because in that presentation, you guys will get where the roofs stand, where a lot of this mechanical equipment stand going forward, so we can talk about what's upcoming. As we've talked about before, there's always more projects than money, right? So, but we have some projects that have to be done. A great example is Ralston Chiller. So, you know, lots of projects, and that's part of the deal, is we're always just keeping up on what we need to take care of next. But, you know, Larry talked about getting into a replacement cycle with some of these things, like we do the buses, and I definitely think that would be the goal. We have a decent amount of stuff that we need to update before, like rooftop units are a good example. We should probably do 3 or 4 of those every year, but we gotta get caught up on those a little bit. The tough part is there's no real additional source of consistent money that we have to do these projects. You know, we talked a little bit about the 1 cent sales tax, but other than issuing a bond or using the little bit of local money that we have, There's just not enough to keep up on the big projects. that
Could
have.
we put a Pepsi logo on all the buses?
You know, Pepsi money back in the day used to be
Pepsi.
pretty good. It's
Yeah.
not so much anymore. It's like $2,000 a year, so I don't think that's gonna cover.
I mean, we could,
Maybe Dr. Pepper since there's number 2 now.
Maybe.
we could sell naming rights to the CTE building, like, you want us to put your name on there?
I would explore as many things as possible, but yeah, I mean, we are limited in the funds that we can get, and we're limited from the sources. I mean, so unless we take that 1% that we're gonna, that we would, that's something that ultimately the voters would choose on.
Yeah, yes, and that comes down to RPS and a bunch of other, but I think it's just something to keep discussing as time goes, because that really is one of the answers that could really help us, and without that, there's more projects than money at that point.
And that
So-
is a conversation that's going around Winnebago County with the
Sure.
residents. So.
Where's Rockford at with that?
They're going for it.
They
They
would like our support.
Right.
But,
Yeah, they would like obviously support
Yeah.
in doing that.
Our support is critical. If we don't support this as a community, then it's probably not gonna pass. So it's one of those things like, as we talk about, and I think the presentation of the projects will kind of lead into that conversation.
I agree.
But these 2 projects are gonna be good. This is over 200,000 square feet of roof. It catches up a lot, where we have a few sections here and there that need to be done, but in general, this will.
it's the Hoffman campus too, correct?
Yes. That one doesn't have as much stuff on the roof. The middle school really, when David Hagney was there, he was talking with the custodians, there's a few tiles that they replaced here and there because there's, little water issues. But the roof, DLA shows our roof was done in '99, so we're at 25 years now. Next summer's 26 years. So, and we get 20-year warranty, so that's really right at the, kind of the end of the life of that, so.
Was there any discussion, I know we had talked about ROE possibly putting in anything for the Hoffman campus, or did they ever?
I mean, they don't really have money to buy it or re-roof it at that point.
Well, I didn't know, like even a percentage of just,
We talked to them a little bit about that.
And they're gonna help out as much as they can with updating and things like that. So,
Do we box ourselves in any corners if we're looking at options for the middle school by putting a new roof on it? So you
Yes.
put a new roof on it, the
Yes.
limits, we can't go up.
Well, I mean, we don't, but you essentially end up throwing money out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think I don't want to speak for Josh, obviously, but the magnitude of what that type of project would be and what the circumstances are for us right now financially, like, I don't see how you, without referendum or without, for sure, sales tax, if we can get to that point to entertain it, we can't, like he's saying, we can't keep up with. the
No,
cycle
I
of
get
maintenance
it,
and the
but
problems
those
we have.
questions, because we're eventually going to need it. It's better to have that conversation, because it's part and parcel
Yeah,
with
sure.
all the other conversations that you have. So like maybe we still have the life safety, and we do this stuff, but it's also at the same time, maybe we talk and have a town hall with presenting not just the board, but also the community of like, here's the state of Harlem and what we need, and here's the reason why.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I think definitely with the,
And it's better, you're gonna give it to us right here, but again, we have 12 people in the audience. We need to have McChesney Park and Loves Park seeing this, because they're ultimately gonna be the ones that are gonna be looking at it. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, absolutely. I think that all kind of conversation goes together. But, I mentioned too, Kurt, like, there's a ton of equipment on that roof, and that kind of project would be extremely difficult and expensive to do. I mean, we were over $400 a square foot over there, and it would be at least, that building's 150,000 square feet too. Like Jason said, when you take into account the other tens and 20, large amount of projects upcoming, it would be extremely difficult to fund.
We just have to be, it's a balancing act, right? We can't be short-sighted enough, because we need to make sure that roof gets repaired. But at the same time, if we're putting on a roof, the expectation that roof lasts 25 years, like, where is that school going to be in 25 years? How is that going to grow? We're busting the seams this way. We just have to look, and not saying that this isn't the right way forward, but we just have to make sure that it makes sense now, 5 years, 10 years, until we have to do another roof on this thing. And whatever that looks, right? So that's the only thing I was calling out. This is not a trivial amount of money to put a roof
Oh,
onto this
absolutely.
thing. There's a lot of stuff that's up there, and just looking, right? If you go, you know what, if we don't have the funds, but if we were going to do the funds, I would propose we would put something else over here, that roof is fine, great, right? Makes more sense. Or going, we may not, like you can present different options and say the probability of what we would need and what are we going to sacrifice.
You can also say you get an architect and an engineer to look at the floor plan of it.
Yeah, he may go, you're going up, are you out of your mind? Like
Correct.
you know, I'm not an architect by any.
They'll look at the square footage of everything, look at the thing and say, with the ground, where you're at, here's your 3 options that you might be able to do. We don't know that. That's all that we might need to do, and that's it.
And we've done big things. We've done the Tech Academy. We've done the high school 25 years ago, to a large extension. Like, these things aren't impossible. I know there's funds that need to go places, but just making sure that those
Still worried
plans
about
aren't
that
just.
softball field.
Huh? It's just softball field. I'm glad it's there. So.
So where does that leave us?
I mean, and to bring this like
Well,
back
of
around,
course.
it just comes down to, and I give Josh and his team a lot of credit with keeping us close to a balanced budget with all of the projects that we have done and what we're going to need to prioritize moving forward. But it just comes down to, we're going to need a source of revenue, right? To really continue what we're doing. And then 2, I mean, we're going to have situations, no matter how many times we prioritize stuff, that happened in Ralston. That wasn't even on our radar, right? For the chiller going out. We had somewhere else. So it's tough, you know, but at the same time, you know, we're going to need that. So we'll have that discussion moving forward. On where can we get that extra revenue to fund all these big projects?
I think that, to Mike's point, that's when we get creative, right? Because tax is a hot word. We know what's behind the sales tax. We know why. Josh is all the places that it could go, right? But how many community members are just going to see the word tax? So to Mike's point, that's, you know, maybe this is the time to kind of get out of the box, have some town halls, open it up to, yes, we've got an online audience, we've got folks here, but we need a wider net. To really understand, you know, if RPS is looking for our support, and if we're even remotely considering giving it, we have to look out of the box and see how we get that message and the needs out to the community. So it's also not, you know, any of us falling on the sword because of the word tax. Like, they see I mean, Terrell says it all the time, what's the why? They see the why. Our job is to get the why out there. So I think that's a fantastic idea. And I think, you know, even if we don't go up with the middle school, there is a point in not doing a roof if we're looking at any sort of expansion. Because to Mike's point, we don't want to undo what we've done. So yeah, Aaron said it, we're between a rock and a hard place because, you know, we're not going out of order, because I know you've been talking about these projects for a long time, but if we're at they've been on here forever, right? To your point, it's 25 years old, gonna be 26 years old. But now we have this issue of, you know, looking at the middle school, so maybe we pause.
You just gotta make sure we're not in a rock and a wet place.
Right.
Yes,
Like-
of course, like, yes.
I know, it's
That's
hard.
why, like, that's why it's difficult, but it's, you know, do we do the roof and risk, you know, undoing a few $1,000s worth of work and paying for it again? Or do we pause and look at what can be done?
So where we're at is, even if things went great and we were able to do the one cent sales tax, you're talking probably a couple years before we see any money on that. In addition, we have roofs that are at the end of their lives. So
I get it. I would say that where you're hearing what I'm hearing, we're gonna go forward with the life safety, the way it is with the bonds. But I'm looking for an engineer and architect to say what's our future at the middle school, what are our options? They might come in and say, you have no options here. We don't know. But we need to know what we don't know. And then we can, I mean, you're not gonna be putting a roof on in December. You're not gonna be putting it on in January and February. It's gonna be what's the time frame for that roof?
I was gonna put it in January to get on the schedule, so if we're beyond that,
Yeah, but we'll to put it on into the summer or the spring kind of thing.
the
right?
summer.
Yeah, so we got a couple months. They can.
We'll have the
I'm
life
not talking about
safety.
kicking. I'm talking about getting an engineer and architect to go out there and take a look.
We'll have the
That's
life
for sure.
safety.
Or does it exist ever, right? Like, we cannot be the first one in the history of that school to go, do we go up or what, right? Like, it could be something that goes, yeah, you can because of A, B, and C, and then makes everything a lot easier. Like, we're just asking a question that has probably been asked before, if that information exists.
About like what that dollar amount could be if you go up.
Sure, a dollar amount, or just even you structurally, you
Is it-
can't.
is
Like,
it
you have to
feasible?
rebuild the whole thing if you're gonna go up. Like, these are, it's really easy to say go up as a guy sitting here versus
then-
like an architect that's actually done it.
I mean, then we pivot and say, all right, we can't do that, then maybe we don't
Yeah.
re-up the ROE and we bring back the middle campus at Hoffman. We did it before years. What's old is new again. We have to have options.
But, yeah, and you talk about us doing in-house that work to see what the needs are. Because that's the conversation that has to be had before we ask somebody for options. If we have a need, then yes, then we need to look at options. But if the need isn't there, if it's something that we can do by using the resources that we already have, now we don't have a need, the point is moot, we don't need to make these
So
changes.
restructuring at the middle
I'm
school.
not saying roofs are roofs, you're gonna have to replace a roof, but as far as looking at, major projects to expand when maybe we really don't need to, maybe we do have the resources available now, we just need to utilize the resources that we have better. And to speak to the whole idea of taxes, I think as a community member, as long as I know that the district is being fiscally responsible, and I can look at those actions of the school board that show that, yes, we don't just throw money away because that's the way we always did it, or we feel like we owe this to somebody, or whatever it is, as long as we're showing that we are fiscally responsible, me as a community member, okay, I understand that. Then I don't feel so bad about that, whatever the source of the tax bill is. But that's where it starts, is with that,
But going,
us being fiscally responsible.
but going to that tax, we're at a disadvantage compared to the Rockford area because we already have a higher tax rate up here than the Rockford area. So 1% with us would put our total over double digits, where it still wouldn't put
Right.
them in the double digits sales tax area. So that's where and I agree with you like 1,000,000% if we can show it. But that's a struggle bus for me here because we're gonna be over, in lots of our areas in our district, we're gonna be almost 11% sales tax.
Yeah,
10.75% sales tax.
10.73.
But Rockford will still be in the 9 points, it was either 9.25 or 9.75. It'd be, so it's 8, so it'd be at the 9. So that's a real tough pill to swallow for our area here, especially since we're looking for the growth. I mean, we're a very quickly growing area in our district, and we're looking for that growth, and, I mean, that tax thing would cause people to leave
but
our local
I
area
do like
possibly.
I do like what Mr. Smith said, where he said, well,
But we have to show them how we're spending. I agree with you 100% on that, too.
no, but I like all of it, where you say, all right, go back and this is where Terrell would go meet with that staff and Evan and say,
Yep.
is there other possibilities that we're not thinking? That maybe we don't.
Mhm.
Here's some new options. But we don't know what we don't know, so to get all the options on the table and be able to look at them on a piece of paper, give us give us those options.
That's what, we need more, right now, we need more information.
Yeah.
Period, we need more
And then we-
information.
100%.
And then we can think about that other thing, and then we present it to our community and say, hey, here's where we are.
But I like the fact that we're having this discussion saying we need more information. Once we get it, we're gonna bring it out to the community. And if we have to do multiple town halls to get enough people in there, like, this is the feedback that we need. This is, you know, and the other piece of information is our population in our district, is it aging? You know what I mean? Those are the people that act, you know, those are the people that actually show up to vote.
Yep.
And if we decide to support it or not support it, those are the people that we need to take into consideration, because they're the ones that are gonna take their time and go to the poll and make that decision.
Just gotta present the case of saying.
But that, yeah, so I think we all agree that we need more information. And once we have that information, we will share, and we will share it aloud, and we will listen.
Mhm.
All right.
Josh was just talking about a roof. Sorry, Josh.
A $5.5 million roof.
Fair.
For
a couple roofs.
roofs.
Yeah.
Yes, so.
You found something in that cloud of everything?
Sure, I think it's what we talked more about.
I think you guys have talked about it, I just don't think, yeah. So.
All right.
All right, I guess that's my report.
Thank you,
All right,
sir.
perfect.
Shirley Wagner.
Hi, this evening I have the recommendation to approve the personnel agenda and addendum. We have 16 employments this time round, 10 transfers. Note on the transfers for Haley Roberts, the last one on the first page. She's transferring from Parker Center to Marquette. Maple is listed, that's incorrect, so we need to correct that to Marquette. We have 12 resignations, and we have 3.5 additional para positions requested, 3 at Marquette for students who have moved into the district who have IEPs that required minutes, and half-time at Maple for a student who qualified with a special education eligibility that required minutes. And that's it for me.
Question on the CT division chairperson, what is that role?
It's like CTE teachers are like welding, construction,
Sure.
foods. So
Oh, that
all
makes-
departments have chairpersons.
Okay.
And so they're kind of the leader of that unit. Business has one, social studies has one, English has probably 2.
That makes sense, just
Yeah.
because of CTE can,
Yeah.
it could mean a couple different things that's specific to education.
It's the career and technical education department.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
and we allocate them based on numbers that are dictated by the contract. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, thank you. And with that, back to your call.
All right, I have two FOIA requests here. The first one submitted by Jan Mansfield on September 6, 2024, requesting additional board member communications from August 1st, 2022 and October 31st, 2022, and the district's 5-day extension request to respond by September 20th, 2024, so we will have that response ready. And then the second one, submitted by Owen Wang of Rockford Sun on September 19, 2024, requesting a PDF copy of the district school evacuation plan and the district response dated September 19, 2024, including the district website link for safety protocols and procedures. And in 11D3, we've already talked about that, so do I need to go into any more? I think
Unless you want to add more to it.
Nope, I think we're good there.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the personal agenda and addendum with corrections noted?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hastings, aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Ms. Carlson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes. Personal agenda or personnel agenda?
I said personnel.
Oh, okay. So that is a personal.
Yeah, it's my
That
personal
took over.
agenda. I just,
You took that personally.
thank you, sir. Can I get a motion and a second to approve facility requests?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings, aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve resolution declaring surplus property?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings? Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the adoption of FY '25 tentative budget with recommended changes for the FY '25 final budget?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Ms. Carlson?
Abstain.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of understanding with Hagney Architects for Harlem Middle School and Hoffman Campus for re-roofing project?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the municipal advisory agreement with PMA for professional services in regard to bond issuance for roof projects?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Does anybody have anything further?
Can I, did we decide to skip over 11D3?
Is that the?
Redistricting discussion?
That's what Mike already talked about.
Okay, so we already,
That's why-
okay.
That's why, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I didn't have anything to add, but I didn't know if you had anything to add.
No,
That's your time.
That was good.
Okay, all right, perfect.
I roofed that.
All right, I was just making sure, you know, I can't,
I'm good.
you can steal my thunder, but I don't want to steal yours.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right with that? You guys good? Anything else for anybody else? Nope.
No closed session.
Can I get a? there's no closed
Motion to adjourn.
session. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Can
I
get
will
a
second that motion.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.
I thought you said